we're going to lunch. Let's go to lunch. And he also found out that I was doing stuff because I stayed in a girl's house at this time, and he found out that I would do stuff like, give the younger girls my food because sometimes there wasn't enough food for everybody because some of the girls would be greedy and overfeed themselves and not make sure everybody had food. So it was times that I would like starve myself and just make sure that the younger girls had food and stuff like that, in which their mothers thanked me years later for it, I guess, when their daughters told them that I did stuff like that. And I think my dad kind of had a general idea that I was doing stuff like that. So he would always make sure that he would take me out, to dinners and stuff like that whenever he was going out sometimes. So we built a relationship that way. And he seen I was pretty much like, pretty forceful as a child, just trying to learn him, not really caring too much about all of the other stuff around. I was different. I was that child that was very different. Everybody was like, this one is different. I wasn't complying to what's going on. I was just like, I want to learn, and I did want to learn everything. That was one thing about me. I was so willing to learn everything. I would be in the mail room and hang out with the girls in the mail room and, learn that stuff, learn the incense and learn, videography, learn. I basically learned the business just by being so inquisitive. I even learned how to sew, I did a lot while I was there. So, he noticed that, he noticed there was something different in me. So we started to talk about certain, and he would talk about how he didn't trust my other sister. My sister Hagar, one of my older sisters. And I would question him why, and he was just like, something about her is not right. And I feel like she's just getting money from me. Like she's just using me for money, saying that her daughter is sick when her daughter potentially may not be sick. He was paying thousands of dollars for the child to have some kind of treatment and stuff that we know of. She would say, yeah, she may not live past 8 years old. Next thing you know, she's like 10 years old. She may not live past 10 years old. Next thing you know, it was just like, wait a minute. Now the girl's like 25 years old with like 6 kids, So, I mean, I don't want to say 6. I don't know if it's that much. I haven't, I'm just giving you an example. She got a lot of kids, though.
Were you, when I'm going to bounce back to that in a minute, just speaking of that, were you, have you ever been in contact with Prince York, the one that we see on Sinetta TV, formerly on Sinetta?
Yeah, that very disrespectful child. Yes, I used to take care of him when he was a child. When his mother used to run around chasing behind my father, she would literally just leave her child for me and my other sister to take care of. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I used to change his diapers.
Oh, so he was he on the land too, or was he in Bushwick?
He was on the land. He wasn't born in Bushwick.
Okay.
He's not old enough. He's only in his 20s now, probably like 23, maybe 24 at the most.
Right. Wow. So y'all fell out also, you and Prince York?
Well, the child has always been very disrespectful. The last time that me and him have had words or exchanged words, it was a family reunion, and I just gave birth to my daughter. This was about 7 years ago. I gave birth to my daughter, and I wasn't supposed to be out, but I wanted to go to my family reunion. I just insisted on going. And he just got really disrespectful. He was just all about designer and why don't you have Gucci on and why are you not wearing this? And I was just like, why would I want to wear stuff like that? He was basically disrespecting the fact that I was a very cultural person, and my other brother, Masi, they ended up having some words and fighting over the fact that, he was being so disrespectful to me. He has no respect for women, never did. and I understand the reason why, because, your mother was never there really, so, I get it,
Wow.
The more I look at these boys' situations, the more I understand. It's like their mothers were so busy chasing behind, their father, that they didn't give them lap time, or they didn't hug them enough. So now they grow up hating women,
So
I get it.
Got you. So now back to your sister. What ultimately blew up, whereas though y'all parted ways in a bad way? Remember you said that she was jealous of you or something like that. What ultimately happened, and then as we move forward to Bushwick?
Well, what happened was, it's interesting. My dad was pretty much at the point where he was teaching me everything, and he was explaining to me that I was going to be taking her spot, that I was going to be, the one that's going to be taking care of all of the finances, or he's teaching me financing and teaching me all of the back end of the business, which she was already teaching me. She was aware of the fact that he was teaching me, or going to teach me this stuff. One of my best friends that was on the land, his name was Khalid. He was actually one of my best friends, boyfriend, whatever. They used that as an excuse. She literally, in the middle of the night, woke me up out of my sleep in the middle of the night and told me that my ride was there. And I was like, what do you mean? My mother gave me full custody to my dad during that time. So I was like, where am I going? I had no clue where I was supposed to be going or where I was going. This lady, Patricia Lewis, Sakina, she actually drove me and dropped me off to my mom's old house where my mom no longer stayed at. And I ended up in the foster care system.
Oh my. And when was it? How old were you then? Were you 16 then?
Yes, I was 16 then.
Did anybody reach out to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, did anybody hold up? What happened to Uma? What happened to Uma? Where's Uma?
No, I mean, during this time, it's not like, phones were famous and stuff like that.
Right.
It's not like cell phones like that. It was more like landline phones and stuff. I was basically displaced. My mom wasn't living there anymore. So she was gone, and I was basically dropped in front of a house and, had nowhere to go. Good thing I knew the people in the neighborhood. As a child, I knew some of the people in the neighborhood because my mom lived there for so many years. So I just went across the street to one of my friend's house, this lady, Mrs. Parker, who took care of me for a little bit. And then I ended up, I didn't know, first of all, I was raised in a communal environment. So because I was raised in a communal environment, I assumed that everybody that lived in her house